So I believe there are two types of binge eaters. The first type is binge eating as a coping mechanism, and the binge eating has a direct emotional root or trauma root. And the second type of binge eater is restriction induced, and that sounds like what you're experiencing, and that's also what I experienced. So the binge eating is a symptom of the restriction. And so what I believe is the solution here is to tackle the restriction. Because as long as the restriction's there, you're always going to want to binge eat. It's just biology. Your body is fighting back against the restriction. You're probably really stressed, your cortisol's super high. When you restrict, if you're fasting, under eating, over exercising, all of these things are sending signals to your body to gather more fuel and to store fat and to eat as much as you can and get as much calories and nutrition in as you can. When you eat, it's very, very, very easy to have that turn into a binge because it's survival biology. And so, how I overcame this binge restrict cycle is to very radically remove all restrictions. And this is the hardest part because if you're in this cycle, it means you've been trying to lose weight and you've been trying to stay lean and diet and all of that stuff. So, to get rid of that dieting mindset and to remove all restrictions is very, very scary. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it is a very difficult process because when you truly allow yourself to eat whatever you want, however much you want, and whenever you want, and that is actually the way to do it, in my opinion, you will go crazy in the beginning. Like, when I first started this process, I was probably eating like 5,000 calories, 8,000 calories a day, and I gained like 30 pounds in a month. And it was very, very difficult mentally. But how I got myself through that process is I told myself, okay, I'm going to give this a try for 6 months and see how it goes. And if it ends up not working out, I can always go back to restriction. But at this point in my life, I've spent so many years in this binge restrict cycle. I was in this for like 7 years of my life. And no matter what diet I try, no matter what strategy I used, I always end up binge eating. And so to me, it's like, okay, this is one thing that I haven't tried. Let me give this a shot. And if it works, then it would change my life. And I would actually have a life because what I was living before was not really a life. And so I really dedicated myself to this process, and I think that's the most important part is you cannot convince yourself that you're doing this when you're still holding back, like you can't be like, okay, I'll let myself eat, but not this food, not, or I can't eat after 8 p.m. or there can't be any kind of rule or restriction because the purpose of this process is to remove that feeling of restriction from your psyche. And there's a physiological component to this, of course. If you're underweight or you've been really starving your body of nutrition and micronutrients for a while, you do have to gain a little bit of weight so that your hormones stabilize and your body has what it needs, yes. But I think the bigger part of this is psychological. Because for me, I noticed even when I was at a very healthy weight, I did not need to gain any more weight and I had my period back. Everything was normal and good. As long as I felt mentally restricted, so if I told myself like, okay, I can't eat carbs or I must exercise every day, like once some kind of rule is in my head, then this pattern continues. So I think it's very, very, very crucial to psychologically feel like you're allowed to eat and you're allowed to rest. And I know the biggest fear in all of this is you feel like this might just go on forever. You gain weight forever, and you just become this really unhealthy, massive blob of a being. And I understand that fear completely, but from my own experience and talking to other people who've gone through a very similar journey, I can assure you that that would not happen if your binge eating is restriction induced, because once you lift this psychological restriction and your body is well fed and your hormones rebalance, your body has a natural place that she wants to be at. So for me, after that first couple months, my appetite very naturally started to decrease. And I used to wake up wanting to eat a dozen donuts, cake, toast, everything that I did not allow myself to eat. After a couple months, it's like, okay, well, now I know that I can have these things whenever I want. And so there's no desire to constantly gorge myself in it, and that's the thing with restriction, is the more you restrict, the more you create a desire in yourself to want that food. It's a very interesting psychological phenomenon. And the second that the food is no longer off limits, or like these things you're doing and eating are no longer bad, then they lose their appeal. So yeah, my appetite went down, and I think my metabolism increased because I was feeling like really warm and like just like energetic. So I was like moving around a lot, not even exercise, just like, I would want to stand up, walk around. I would be like fidgeting and shaking and stuff like that. So I think your body's just like naturally trying to recalibrate. And I lost like the 30 pounds or whatever, however much I gained over the course of a year. And I did not try to at all. I didn't eat differently. I didn't work out more. It was just completely natural process. And and after that, I just kept eating normally. And I started to add in exercise and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the process. Please let me know if you have any more questions, because this journey is so near and dear to my heart, and recovery has completely changed my life. So I hope you can arrive at this place too.